guys, so I wanted to talk to you about what a keto diet is and kind of how I've been using it for my personal weight loss. Just to give you a background, back in September, I got up to the heaviest I've ever been. I was up to 200 pounds. My knees were hurting all the time, my ankles were swelling up, and I was just like, something's got to give. So I've done a lot of research on a keto diet, and kind of what that is you're eating less than 50 carbs a day, and what that does is it puts your body in a state of ketosis. In a simpler term, ketosis is when your body is using your fat stores for energy rather than carbohydrates, because carbohydrates are your #1 source of energy. So when you don't have any carbohydrates or glycogen in your muscles, your body is using your fat stores for weight loss, or fat stores for energy. There's so many health benefits for a keto diet. It helps with your insulin levels, your blood sugar, lowers cholesterol, improves your mood. It's just so extremely beneficial. The one thing about a keto diet is it's not extremely healthy to do it for long term. And the disclaimer on that is if you're only doing low carb. So if I'm eating 50 carbs a day, every single day for years, it's not extremely healthy. So what I have done, and I've done a lot of research, is called carb cycling. Because the biggest thing is I don't want anybody to think carbs are just bad. And that's what a lot of people do when they go on ketosis. They start losing weight, so then they just like cut carbs out completely because they're like, wow, I'm losing 10, 15, 20 pounds, so I'm just gonna do this forever. Carbs are like the worst thing in the world. They are not. So what I've done research on and what I've done, and this is the most extremely healthy way to lose weight and sustain it for a long period of time, and it's really a lifestyle. It's called carb cycling. So what I do is I do 4 days of low carb in a row. So I'm eating less than 50 carbs. And then on the 5th day, I have a high carb day. So that's when I'm replenishing my glycogen stores in my muscles. When people go on a keto diet for a long period of time, you're never replenishing those glycogen stores. And that's where it can become unhealthy. So that's why on the 5th day, you're replenishing those glycogen stores. That's when you have your pastas, your breads, things like that, because pasta has a high amount of carbs. So that's when you're eating like 150 to 200 carbs on those days. You're replenishing your stores. Usually you feel really good on those days. And then you go back into your carb cycling. So then you go another 4 days of low carb. I like to do, because I don't want people to think like you're completely deprived of eating anything that you love. Like I absolutely love pizza. So what I do is I do 4 days of low carb. I have my first fifth day. So it's kind of like a 10-day cycle. So my first 5th day, I have like my pastas, I have like my toast at breakfast, or I make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, something like that. I have my breads, tortilla chips, just things that I kind of haven't been having those first 4 days. Then I go on another 4 days of low carb. Then the next 5th day, or your 10th day, is when I have my cheat day. That's when I have my pizzas and things like that. And obviously you're gonna have probably in excess of 200 carbs on that day, especially if you're like me, you're eating pizza. And I can eat like five, 6 slices of pizza. So it's kind of a 10-day cycle, and it's an extremely healthy way to lose weight because you're carb cycling. You're going up and down with your carbs. You're not completely cutting them out because, like I said, I don't want you to think that carbs are horrible. You should never eat them. I'll kind of, at the end of this video, I'll kind of tag some good websites for information. There's also one where they kind of make the low carb diet for you. It's like $2 a week, that's if you want. And I can kind of include what I eat on a daily basis. I'm kind of a plain person, so I can eat very similar throughout the week. For breakfast, I'll have like eggs and bacon and some strawberries. Any fruit that has a berry at the end are pretty low carb. Bananas, apples, those are high carbs. I usually save that for my higher carb day. For lunch, I have a salad. I sometimes throw meat in there, like bacon bits or chicken that's not breaded. ham, things like that. So kind of a Cobb salad for lunch. My snacks usually include like Greek yogurt, almonds, peanuts, sunflower seeds, strawberries, things like that. And then for my dinner, I kind of make, I have a meat and a vegetable. If you're vegetarian, I can put some high protein beans, things like that are considered low carb. I live with my boyfriend, so he's not really on low carb. So when I make dinner, I usually include like rice or a potato or a dinner roll, something like that for him, since he's not doing the low carb. And I know a lot of you have children, spouses, so you don't want to sit here and make 2 different dinners every single night. So that's kind of how my happy medium that I make with it. There's other little things that can kind of help you throughout the day. I do have string cheese. What I do with pepperonis is I put them in the microwave for like a minute or so, and they come out super crispy, and that kind of gives me like my chip sensation because I love chips. I love chips. So that kind of helps me get over that type of snacking. And again, I can include all of this on the page if you're interested. So kind of to backtrack, so in the fall, I was 200 pounds. Once I went on the carb cycling, I lost 20 pounds in about 2.5 months. So by the time basketball season started here at Landmark in December, towards December, I was down to 180. So I started at 200, got down to 180. Once the basketball season started, being an athletic director, basketball coach at the same time, I was getting home super late, so I was eating late, and I was drinking a little bit more because the girls drive me crazy sometimes. But so that weight went up about 10 pounds during the basketball season. So because I kind of got off of that low carb diet, I was eating high carb Taco Tuesday, but Taco Tuesday like every day. So things like that. So I gained about 10 pounds. I got up, I think again, back up to like 195. And then as soon as this quarantine started, I've lost 15 pounds already in the past month and a half because I was being really strict with my carb cycling. For those of you, if you're like me, you like to have your daily kind of cocktail, because sometimes dealing with the stresses of life, sometimes you just like to enjoy a drink. So you can still have your beverages on your low carb diet. You just have to be mindful of what you're choosing. So for those of you that, don't want to completely cut that out, I understand. I'm the same way. So usually I kind of choose to either do, I choose a light beer that's low in carbs. So some of the best ones are Michelob Ultra or Miller Lite. Bud Light has about almost 10 carbs, but Michelob Ultra and Miller Lite only have like 2.6. So those are pretty good ones to choose from. Certain wines are really good. Red wine's really good if you want to have that. And then there's been a few days where you might want something a little bit different. For those of you who enjoy more mixed drinks, just be mindful of what you're mixing it with, because liquor itself does not have like any carbs at all. It's what you're mixing it with that messes most people up. Take a Long Island, for example. It has like 800 calories in just one drink because of everything that it's mixing it with, the sodas, the sweet tea, whatever that they put in those. It's the mixers that have the high calorie, high carb, and high sugar. So what I've done, yesterday, for example, I had a bad phone call with one of the parents because this kid apparently thought, we had no idea we were doing virtual school, but was doing all their work in every other class except mine. So kind of got cussed out by a parent. So I was like, you know what? I prefer to have a beverage today. So what I did, like Minute Maid makes a lot of their light drinks, or they have zero sugar ones, and those have like in an 8-ounce glass, like a carb or 2 carbs. And then you mix that with whatever liquor that you like, and then you're having 100, 200 calorie drink, but it's only got 2 carbs in it. So if you're somebody that really likes those mixed drinks, just be mindful what you're mixing it with. And kind of to go off of that, when it comes to weight loss, what people really mess up is the types of drinks they're drinking throughout the day. So I've had a lot of people come to me like, you know, I'm eating healthy, but I'm just not losing weight. I'm so confused. And my first question will be like, well, what are you drinking throughout the day? If you have a glass of orange juice with breakfast, high sugar, high carb, high calorie, that will mess you up. Gatorades or just any type of juices, things like that. So it's really important throughout the day to drink, to have water as your main source, because a lot of people just don't even think to include what they're drinking. Again, it doesn't mean don't drink it at all. Just if you do decide that you want like a glass of orange juice in the morning, just make sure you're measuring that throughout the day with your carb intake. So if I have, like for example, the other day I really wanted orange juice. I had that for breakfast and I knew that was like 15 carbs. So I was like, you know what, that means I really got to restrict what type of carbs I'm having throughout the day. So that's kind of the basis of it. I know it seemed like that was a lot of information. So feel free to contact me and we can talk about it further. Like I said, I'll include kind of a chart and just a bunch of recipes, a bunch of different snacks, because I know some people really, really like variety. I'm kind of a plain Jane person. I can eat similar stuff throughout the day and I just kind of mix up my dinners throughout the week. But I know a lot of people just like, no, I need variety if I want to stay on a plan. So I'll kind of include some of that stuff, but I just wanted to describe and kind of go over what a low carb diet is and how it's important to carb cycle and not just stick to keto every single day. Because for long term, it's not healthy for your body to deplete yourself of carbohydrates completely. Because again, I don't want you to think that carbs are awful, because they aren't. So I hope that helps you guys out. And I'll keep you guys updated with kind of my journey. Like I said, I'm at 180 right now. I dropped those 15 pounds during this quarantine. My goal weight is to lose about another 10, and that's it. So I'll kind of keep you guys updated, and I hope you guys keep me updated as well. I'd love to help you guys out as much as possible. So I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen. I know this was kind of a long video. So yeah, so I hope you guys have a great weekend and let me know if you have any questions.